All right, gentlemen, we are over at the mothership. Pete, what should we know about routing?
Routing, well, the brilliance of working with Justin is it's bass on a cable straight into the Ernie Ball volume pedal, which is just brilliant. And then it pretty much just swings the signal flow just swings along the front with a little jump up to the pink pedal that Justin will touch on when he's playing. And then we go into, at the end, Justin's custom pedal that he'll talk about when we get to it. And then that shoots over to the radial and then comes back to the Rat and to the EQ pedal. And the great thing about this pedal board is this is the second version of this giant pedal board. And the great thing about being with Tool is it's almost unlimited space for the backline department to have as big as you want. So if Justin wants this layout, we can have a massive pedal board, and it doesn't, we're not in a van. We're in semi-trucks and in arenas or stadiums. But what we did do this time around was so Justin can get this in his car, I made it so it detaches in the middle.
Oh, I see the hinges,
and we can split it, and he can take it for sessions and all sorts of things. Yeah. And we have 2 individual cases for it. And also, EBS just sent us a whole bunch of great cables. These are the gold tipped ones. They're flat, and there was a noticeable difference in the sound and of improvement and stuff. So shout out to EBS.
What are we using for instrument cables?
Instrument cables, it's the Megami.
Yeah, top of the line.
It's fantastic as well, but shout out to the EBS guys.
Yeah, we just to mention using the cable, it's not something it's very common these days. Everyone's wireless, but we've done a lot of experimenting with wireless packs. Just literally A-being it, standing there in the studio, and the difference is huge.
Really?
Yeah. There's a spike in the level, clarity. So we just stuck with it because it gives it that little extra kind of bit of detail to the whole band. Adam does the same thing. So.
Pete, what keeps you up at night with the rig this? I don't want to say complicated, but there's a lot going on. What keeps you up at night? Gives you nightmares?
There's certain cities in the world that I know when we go to. There's radio stations that are broadcasting at a high ampage out, and we've got one giant antenna here. So radio frequencies popping up on the pedal in the rig somewhere keeps me up at night. And there's ways to eliminate that, roadie tricks and stuff. And
can you care to divulge, or trade secret? What do you do?
I asked the boss to buy a brand new wild bass, and that eliminated it because the old bass sounded amazing, but it did pick up a lot of RF, even though we were trying to figure out new things. So thank you for buying a new bass.
You're welcome.
And then the next thing is the boss. I think it's the sound.
Noise suppressor.
Noise suppressor pedal. I can engage that. It's not in the loop permanently, but in between songs, if we're picking up a perfect song by name a big band, in between songs, I'll hit that and it gets rid of it. That way the band isn't like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then when they're playing, it's hard to overpower Tool with a radio frequency.
Absolutely. Yeah. One last question. What's going on with the special shielding we got with the Boss pedal here? The bass equalizer, or the Boss equalizer?
Talk about the...
Yeah.
So as you see, it's got open slots on top. And like we do festivals, it can be rain. It's all types of weather. We're exposed. And so it's just to stop the rain from going in there and the dust, and it keeps it going. It's been there since I started, and Justin's had a lot of great techs work for him over the years. So if it's working, I leave it in place.
And that never changes. That's the set EQ for the dirty cab. So
the slight smile EQ.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well,
never fails.
Justin, let's start this party off. Tell me about your pedals and how you're using them, man.
Well, this is volume right here. Once we got that up, we can go down the line. Tremolo right here. That one's lovely, got a tube in it. It's really warm. It's Gaia tone. And then of course, my trusted whammy pedal. So
I don't want to discount the signature wah fuzz that we'll get to in a minute, but would you say the bass whammy is kind of your most crucial pedal, based on like you need that to pull it off?
I would say it really helps me do stuff that isn't so bass orientated. Some of the lead stuff I do when Adam holds down the rhythm and lets me go above it. Like something like the middle of Schism. So like, That's bypass right there. So
Okay.
that's actually the way I get out of that situation. I've got every pedal on. I can hit this and it bypasses all my effects pedals.
Oh, all right.
So I bypass it, and then over the next verse I can turn everything off and then get back again to my original sound.
Get out of jail card.
Yeah, you can hear the difference. This is like a little static with all the pedals, and then that's a little quieter because it's bypassed them all. But yeah, then the sounds amp is just an original, it's a distortion. It doesn't sound, it hasn't got so much low end, but it's really nice for some of that higher stuff and some feedback. And a lot of my sound is just the order in which the pedals come. It's almost like a keyboard, you know, the order in which you put the modules together,
Yeah.
each affects each other differently. So I'm just so used to it that it's got, I can play with it almost like a keyboard. If I, you know, mess over here, I know how it affects this and
It's
this.
self-aware.
Yeah, well, it's got, yeah. And then, you know, the boss pedals, classic chorus, flanger, delay pedal is one of my really, you know, good friends. And again, you can see the classic bit of white tape with all my different marks.
Spare no expense for Tool.
You know, through the show, I'm moving that by hand, just nailing, you know, different little letters there. That'll be Flood, you know, that'll be The Grudge. And yeah, it's got a little, there's a little variation, you know, but it's close enough.
How are you using that different than the Providence delay? You
Well,
know?
okay, so the Providence is, specifically, we started using that for the song Ænima,
Oh, okay.
where the guitar and the bass, we wanted them to just completely sync up the delay. So if we got it on here, is
I've experienced that
And-
before. Being one of those, like, you know, nobody's out there. I've felt that.
it's cool as well. It's got two settings. So halfway through, when we were recording, we realized that the third verse, I think, Danny introduces the tabla sound, and it always kind of sped up a bit, but we liked it. So we decided that at that point, we go from 113 to 115, which is hardly noticeable, but it's a little bit faster.
So the pedal kind
So
of
we
tracks
decided
with
to lock in with Danny's natural flow, and now that's what we do every night. So, and with that
Okay.
pedal, it's always exactly the same for both of us, and the step up is the same as well.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. And then here we've got the Gaia tone, or it's like an auto wah, which is cool. It's like an envelope that opens and closes depending on how hard you hit it. Probably know that from The Grudge.
I recognize a lot of these riffs.
Adam gave me that, I think in Japan, and I just fell in love with it. And I've used it on a few records, so that's always, you know, that's pretty much in there. This is, God, what's the name of the maker?
Game Changer.
Game Changer again. It's a sustain pedal like on a piano. I don't use it very much on this tour, but I've used it on a few songs. But you can kind of grab something when you're moving up. Which is, you can get some interesting effects depending on where you apply it during the movement of your hand. So that's kind of fun. And also it's you know, it's quite a unique pedal, something that does something different. So I was like, I've got a slot there, I'm gonna put something interesting in there. And then, you know, the mothership right here. And as you see there, this is my signature wah-wah pedal.
It's in
We've done
camouflage
my-
because I expected it to be blue.
Do you have the blue one, Pete?
Stand by.
So, yeah, Jimmy Dunlop made a couple of these especially for me in this kind of rusty chuck finish, which there are only 4 of, which is very nice to have my own special ones.
Yeah.
Here's the original blue one, which is, you know, anyone else can get. But yeah, I was going to say one of the features is that I put the on-off switch of the distortion down the bottom there, so I can actually kind of use my heel, so I don't have to go all the way to the top to activate something.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's got this little extension on it, so it's almost the same level.
Do you know what the fuzz circuits, is that based on kind of your, I know that for a while you had the Foxtone?
No. It's more the color sound, tone bender.
Oh, the tone bender,
sort
yeah.
of vintage stuff like that.
Okay.
Or like a big muff, you know.
And
we had like everything lined up, and we went through everything and listened to them all, and we were like, what do you like? And we just kind of, you know, did a blend of that stuff.
And the 2 filter settings, what are those kind of going after?
So the this is a basic wah-wah. It's more of a traditional wah-wah.
Okay, like a crybaby.
On the top. And then the bottom one is, we called it the UK filter. And it's basically a filter suite kind of based on this sound from if I roll all the EQ off this pickup and then add it on this one, it kind of goes from the one to the other. So we kind of based it on that, try to imitate that a little bit. So it's, well, I'd have to do it with my. That was the sort of the inspiration. Was that. But we added there's a little dip in the frequency with that one. It's a lot more throaty and warmer than the traditional wah.
Okay.
So when you hit it, you can kind of hear. The other one is. It's much higher, perhaps for more like higher lead stuff.
Kind of like Cliff Burton when he, you know.
Right. Here it kind of dips when it engages, and then so it's a little more on the lower scale. Yeah.
When we're done with this interview, I'm going to check my pants after that fuzz.
Well, it is brown. That's why maybe the brown one for the brown note, I guess.
I think the 2 that we haven't hit so far, real quick, Justin, is the rat and the EQ.
Yeah, so the rat and the EQ, after everything goes from my bass through this, goes to the radial, then it comes back, and one of them goes back through the rat and the EQ to the dirty cabinet.
Okay.
So basically pedals go all the way through this and through that, so when it's completely clean, the one cabinet still has a little bit of dirt. The EQ brings back some low end. So yeah, that's always on, those 2.
Okay.
And then this is just this is for the end of Ænima, which again we realized gets a little exciting at the end every time. So the tempo was consistently a little faster on the very last chorus. Yeah. And we're like, well, instead of messing around with, this only has 2 settings. So we were like, let's just chuck another delay in there that's always on that. So that's specifically for the end of Ænima.
Okay.
Rather than me having to mess with this one or that one or change anything else around. So
I can't begin to thank you guys enough how much this means to me, means to the viewers. This is huge. And before we leave, I got to give Pete a shout out. This is one of the cleanest pedal boards we've seen.
But I think it looks messy and stuff because you know, it started off big and you got loads of space and then you squish stuff in. So thank you for the shout out. But it's still a process of cleaning it up and making it look good.
Again, Pete and Justin, thank you guys so much. Yep. Huge fans, and thank you guys out there for staying tuned. And we knew we'd bring it to you one of these days. We got you. Chris Keys, Rig Rundown.
Cheers.